Stacey Funt, welcome back to the Lean Out podcast. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
You're so welcome. So, for those who are listening who are not familiar with you, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself and tell us how your chosen profession, your work life balance is different from other coworkers and peers.
Okay, great. Well, I'm a radiologist by training. I'm a body imager in New York. I've been in this field a very long time. And about 14 years ago, I went back for health coaching. I became a national board certified health coach. And I have always been a global traveler my whole life. And after my kids went to college, it was time to put it all together. So I became a tour operator. I run adventures for women all around the globe based on facets of lifestyle medicine. So it's really been a fun way for me to put all these different skills and interests that I have that I don't get to utilize in radiology into life in another way.
Wonderful. And tell me some of the more recent places that you've been to.
Well, I just came back from Africa and Guatemala the other day, but current trips are Morocco, Peru. I just released a new trip for Nepal and Bhutan. We're going to walk a Camino. I have a trip to the Azores. We have one to Lake Powell, kayaking and hiking. So it's very exciting. All the trips are based on lifestyle medicine. So there's movement, there's moderate movement. Most of the women are like 40s through 60s. Not a hard rule, but I just want a 20-year-old to know we're not running up Kilimanjaro. And all the trips have moderate movement. They have the opportunity for whole foods and healthy eating. They have time for stress management. We're either staying in a spa, going to a spa, doing yoga, star bathing, forest bathing. And then a really big component is community. These are women trips. Once a year, I do a couples trip. But for the most part, these are women's trips. And it's a really very a special experience to be in community as we go to these awe-inspiring places and have these adventures together.
And what would you say is the typical participant's background? Do you have all physicians or some physicians? Is there like a mix?
Yeah, there's a mix. It's not physicians only, but I get a lot of physicians. So I'd say at this point, usually about half are physicians, sometimes a little more. Sometimes physicians come with friends or siblings or people not related to medicine. My last trip to Morocco, one woman who is not a physician wrote on her Facebook group, "I'll never go on a trip with less than 7 physicians again." Because it does come in handy. But I think the thing that everyone has in common that are drawn to these are they want adventure and they want immersive experience, a more authentic, immersive experience. And they're willing to go a little bit out of the way to do that. It's an elevated trip. We stay in beautiful places. I I don't want to use the word luxury because I don't want it to seem like everyone's carrying your luggage. Like we are hiking or we're sleeping at a monastery with the monks or we're getting into these unique places. And I think it's women who enjoy experience and novelty and awe and being in nature.
I love that. And last time you were on the show, which I will link to our previous conversation in the show notes, you talked a lot about how you decided to start this business and kind of what was happening and going on in your work at that time. But now it has really expanded. So tell us about the evolution of your tour operating business and how it has grown.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It really has. Like it started, Brene Brown talks about a vulnerability attack. And that first trip, you just never know if anyone's going to go on. And, it's just like, okay, I'll give it a try because life is short and I'll just give it a try. But people loved it and I loved it and it went really well. And it started to take on different meaning for me. Like really, I mean, it sounds cliche, but to like put my mark out there or to have an impact in the world or to create something that I find really meaningful to me that impacts others in a really positive way. And so it ended up really giving me such personal reward beyond what I had anticipated. I just thought, oh, yeah, it would be fun. This would be great. And I love to travel. And then when I start to see transformations of other people, lasting transformations or friendships bloom that they went on to like go on other trips on their own or keep signing up or letters and feedback I got from other people, like shifts in identity and really marking transitions in life, it just it became a lot more meaningful to me. Also, it's organically grown a lot. Like I do some advertising, a lot is word of mouth. I talk with everybody who comes who's interested. I don't have a join now button still. Like I just meet with everyone to make sure it's the right match for them. They have the right expectations and, because it's a small group dynamic. And I think because I meet with everyone, I kind of carry them with me then. Like when I'm planning something or doing something, I have this tribe I'm thinking of when I'm doing it. It's not isolated just for the act of doing it itself. It's connected to other people. So I think all of that has just had it really grow in importance to me. And then to see people wanting to keep coming back and the demand is increasing and it's working, then you just want to keep making it better and you want to provide more. And so that's how it's just naturally grown.
I have so many thoughts about this. And the first is that it's really a testament to the success of the trips and this special curated experience that you're creating, that you are kind of like hand picking the people, or at least double checking that the applicants are appropriate for the trip and that it's going to be like a nice cohesive group.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm a hand, but it's for the group and for the individual, right? Because when you go on a trip, you're giving your money, your time, and your hope, for an experience. And that's a lot for everyone. And I want it to be the right match for the other person as well. And you never know until you really travel with someone, but it's just worked out so beautifully. It really has. And I've never told anyone you can't go, but we've kind of worked together why maybe it wouldn't be the right match. And then usually I've had another company or another trip to offer them that I thought would just be a better match for them. So that works out really well. And I think another thing that's made it really nice, again, I have personally been a traveler and I have a style. I always like to travel and that's what I create. But when I create a new trip, I go there first before I bring the group. I go there to do my research. I go there to meet everyone. Sometimes it's fully done and I'm doing the whole dry run. Sometimes I'm putting it together. But that really helps me a lot ensure that it's the wow factor and the energy flow that I want. Because a trip has an arc. And it's really helped make it flow so well for people.
Well, as I have watched your business grow, I've seen the number of trips that you offer per year increase. And they always seem to be sold out too, which is amazing. And I'm wondering how you are now sitting in the radiology part of your work life balance. How has that shifted as your business has grown?
So two things have happened simultaneously. I mean, I was part-time. And I have a great boss. My system's been wonderful, but I always had to ask for it way in advance. And sometimes you couldn't, it was always that little bit of stress. Am I going to get what I want? And things have taken more and more time because I'm exploring more destinations. It's really, as an entrepreneur, there's so many facets I wasn't even thinking of that's very time consuming. So just last month, I switched from part-time to per diem, and I'm really excited about that change. I mean, I've never had this kind of control over my schedule since I'm 22. I mean, it's for a very, very long time. So that's one way. I didn't do that until I knew that this was something that was really viable path for me. So that's really exciting. And then another thing though is as it expands, I'm realizing I can't do everything by myself. Like it's just not possible. So it's either don't grow it or, get other people. So in 2026, I have 4 wonderful women joining me as hosts. I've trained them and they've been on my trips. So now I can have other people, the guides, the drivers, they're all from the country, but I always send a female host to facilitate the community and just manage the energy and the flow of the trips. So this year will also bring in new hosts, which is a big change for me. I'm used to, doing everything, and you kind of have to have a level of trust and a level of being willing to let go of some things for it to grow. Otherwise, it couldn't for me.
I think that's a really good point. There comes this moment when you realize you have to do some things that are either uncomfortable or unfamiliar in order to continue to grow something that you've really wanted and dreamed about. Or are you going to just stop doing it or let it stay small or shrink it down or something like that? And it's not always an easy decision. So, how did you go through that process with yourself of deciding that you're going to expand, that you were going to relinquish some of the control and let other people be involved, for instance?
Right. Well, I think the decision to continue on and expand, that wasn't really a conscious decision. Ideas just kept coming, excitement kept building. Like it's just where the energy is flowing and it's hard to fight the energy. So I felt it going in this direction and I was so lit up and excited about it. But what I realized though, my trips are all based on lifestyle medicine and self care, but I was working so hard. I was finding it hard to find any time to exercise, or or I do have a partner and he's so supportive. He's amazing. But the beginning of any new endeavor, you sacrifice a lot, but to have a sustainable endeavor, I realized I need to find that balance again. I needed to have time where I could just relax with my partner and not doing this all the time. And so if I had to stop, of course I would, but I didn't want to. I really didn't want to. It's just really lights me up. And so knowing that, then it became, okay, what do I need to do to make this feel sustainable and manageable? And one became cutting the hours, and one became getting hosts. And now for 2026, my goal is to get my systems in place more, to automate more, and then actually get more outside help. I've been doing the marketing and the email, everything, but to try to get some of that help. And one important thing that I did for me, once I saw I was going to take on hosts, I didn't know how to do that. This isn't my training. I wanted to do it really well. I got a mentor. I invested in a mentor, someone who has had long-term experience in the travel industry, who had a similar model to me in a similar kind of company. And she's been amazing for me to get that grounding, get that different perspective, bounce things off of. And that's been really helpful for me to make some of these uncomfortable decisions. Because um, she also validates what I'm experiencing about it and then shares her experience of someone who's further down the road, that it's okay to make these changes. You won't lose the mission, or that it can still grow in a way that you want it to.
I think that's a great point, and I'm wondering how you found this person. Like, how would you recommend people find a mentor like that? Did you
Yeah.
know about her business or what was the link there?
No, I didn't. They say seek and you shall find, right? So I realized I needed help. I was reading, I was in Facebook groups, but I needed more specific help of someone who could really. So I'm in many different tour operator groups and travel communities, and I just started putting it out there. And some people gave recommendations. I did talk with a few people. It just didn't move me. It just didn't seem right. And then I heard of this other woman and I sent her an email. We had a thing to talk. Within 5 minutes, I knew she was the woman I wanted to work with. I just knew. And, it was a financial investment. I don't really know her yet. I didn't ask her for, personal recommendations, but I looked at her website, I looked at her mission, and then I saw her growth. And then just within 5 minutes of talking with her, I just felt like we were aligned. I felt trust with her. I felt we were aligned. And, some things you just take the plunge, and it worked out really well.
That's really good. Are there any other tips you would give to people who want to grow a side business or their main business and they have trouble with marketing? You talked about a lot of word of mouth, but What other kinds of marketing strategies did you employ?
I think for so many of us, marketing is painful.
Yeah.
Okay. I think on some level, it even feels shameful.
Yes.
As physicians, right? We're just supposed to exude ability and intelligence, and then things will come to us out of effort and merit, not advertised. So it's very different from the culture we grew up in and how we're trained to be and how we feel most more comfortable. So that's marketing, I think, is painful for a lot of us.
Mhm.
And I think what helps, first of all, community helps. Community of other people marketing helps because it's out of my comfort zone. Okay. And then just reframing, right? If I don't share what I'm doing, then no one will know. And I feel like there's a way to market with integrity and a way to market that we look more as sleazy or what we have judgments about. And just saying, hey, I'm doing this. This is my experience. That becomes the more comfortable marketing. But sometimes I just have to be uncomfortable. And I'm going to admit something. I use ChatGPT to talk about my struggles with marketing. I'll be like, is this redundant? Is this too much? Like really? And it will help me. Somebody once said if you use AI properly, it could be a tool to be the best version of yourself. And I
Mhm.
thought that that was a great comment that helped me a lot because it will help push me to just get out of being afraid how it's going to look and do it anyway. And this mentor has also been very helpful. She thinks I should be doing more than and it's something, look, a step at a time. I'll grow into it more. But having other people push me because that is definitely an area that's outside of my comfort zone. And I think, especially in medicine, for so many of us, it is, but also even algorithms. When you market on social media, so few people see what you market. And when I see other people sharing their stuff, I don't think, "Ugh, how could they?" I think, oh, cool, let me check that out. Or that's me, that's not for me. Like, there's no judgment. I'm actually interested to see what other people are doing. And then if it resonates with me, then I'll go for it. And if they never marketed, I wouldn't have known. So it's just trying to get that. And for me, between community, other people, AI giving me a realistic view, it helps me. And then when I'm uncomfortable, I just do it anyway. Like I could deal with discomfort. We've been through a lot of discomfort in our lives. A little bit more is not going to kill me.
I think it's interesting that you just said that because I see travel as a really an important gateway to that, to feeling that confidence that you can weather difficult things and overcoming adversity and challenges. Because anytime you go somewhere new or somewhere unfamiliar, you don't know the language or, whatever it is, it's always this challenge that you have to overcome. And it can be really gratifying when you do. And I'm sure that you've experienced that on all of your trips because I know it's kind of that mix of,
Absolutely. It's so interesting you say that because it builds self-efficacy,
yeah.
right? It builds that feeling, hey, I could do that. I could do this. I could do this. And, I'm putting together a talk right now. I don't know when this is airing. I'm putting together a talk on lifestyle medicine and travel and how travel creates lasting behavior change. And because I just believe
Mhm.
so deeply in this. And really, if I had to pick the essence of it, I would say because immersive travel helps shift identity. And that's exactly what you just touched on. When we complete meaningful, challenging goals, it shifts our identity. When we have these novel experiences, when we're with people we don't know and then they see us in a new way, it helps shift identity. And our identity is that quiet little voice inside that says who we are and what we're capable and what we should be doing. Right. So, if my identity is that like I'm a phony and just have this little side gig, that's going to feel so different than if my identity is I'm a tour operator of a thriving business, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a risk taker. Those identities can live within the same person, yet they completely change what I think, how I respond, and what I create in my life. So I think you just touched on something so important.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you have had any women physicians or women professionals who've gone on your trips and come back to you or like written to you and been like, this changed me permanently, or, I went from X to Y or something like that. Any examples like that?
I do. I have so many examples. It's amazing. And I'll give you one. And I did ask her if I could share the story, and she gave me permission, of course, without using her name. But I had one woman physician. She had a meningioma. She had a very big meningioma, and she had a cranial resection, and it left her with big deficits. And she was wheelchair bound for a while, and she worked very hard in physical therapy. She had to stop practicing. And she was very vivacious and vibrant before that. And it was her goal in life to overcome this and work this through. So she contacted me. She came on a Morocco trip one year, and that had hiking involved. And, I wasn't quite sure, but she believed she could do this. And then we agreed, though, we would just have backup plans just in case, just to make sure everything's safe and everything, and she worked so hard for this, and let me tell you, she did amazing. She was, like, the front of the line, like, she just needed some walking sticks to help with balance, that's it, but we all had walking sticks anyway. She was amazing. I think that that trip shifted her identity from someone with a disability to someone who is strong and vibrant. Like that, like, she no longer felt limited by the struggle she's had in the past physically. It was just profound, and I've had few people, travel often marks transition, so I get people on a milestone birthday or any relationship, and one woman came, she was supposed to come on this journey with her partner who died, and it was just really sad, and then she contacted me wanting to go on it now for herself, and it's a whole story of how she ended up taking care of herself, but I feel like that transition for her marked a point, just a real turning point in her life, and a turning point of living for herself, living in the moment. Life is today and now, and all that kind of stuff. And she then signed up for another trip in the future, and then changed it to a couple's trip because I could just cry over there, but
No, you're making
bringing
me
it
want to
full
cry
circle.
too. My gosh.
I mean, this is why this is so meaningful. And I could go on with story after story, because it just, you know, there's another woman who just felt so alone. She just felt alone. And she came alone, and three other women came alone. And they had been on so many trips since. Like, she feels like she belongs again. These are all just human things we're all looking for. And travel just becomes this magical little break from our moment, from our routine, from our habits, from our expectations. It's this like miracle little stepping away, and it doesn't have to be profound for everybody, but it does open a door. One woman recently, we were riding ATVs, the coffee plantation, and she's like, take pictures of me because my kids think I never do anything and they think I'm square and they think I'm boring, And we just took a million pictures of her looking like this wild woman on this ATV. Again, it's identity, right? It's how we see ourselves and how we feel about ourselves and our relationship to others in the world. And there are ways to get all of this without traveling. We don't have to travel, but I think the lessons we learn from this is what opens us up to these shifts, that maybe we could bring into our lives at home.
These were such great examples of transformations of identity. And as you're describing these, I can just feel your emotions coming out of the screen. And it really is a testament to how much purpose you are getting from doing this. And as physicians, we're used to having a part of our identity be caregiving or, helping others. And you've shifted how much you're doctoring and how much you're traveling, but you are arguably helping more, impacting more lives on a different level than you would doing diagnostic radiology, doing the work that you had trained to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Exactly. Is there any downside that you have noticed to dialing back your clinical work and increasing your travel work? Any trade-offs that have surfaced?
if I had to pick anything, because no, it's been great for me. And I'm also a bit older, right? So I've done radiology for a long time. If I was 34 and had a family support and loans to pay off and babies at home, and it maybe wouldn't feel so relaxed to be so mission based for me, because I think the financial strain might be on there as well. So there is a component to holding on to stable income while you're building something you feel so passionate. Some people believe just cut it off and do it, but for me, it's worked really well to have that stable income, as I'm doing this. I will say, I think the only negative thing for me, and I know this may sound like a great thing, but it really can be a negative thing, right? When I would go to work, right? Like, I'm very grateful for radiology. It does not light me up. You're not going to hear me talk about it the same way I'm talking about these other things, especially now at PACS and shift work and all these things. But when I go to work, I have a beginning, a middle, and end, and I come home and that's it. And then I relax my husband and I make dinner, and there are containers around my work.
Mhm.
And what I'm working on now, this is my goal for 2026. As an entrepreneur or something you feel so deeply about that excites you and there's so much to do around it, there are no containers.
Mhm.
There are no containers. And some people maybe would have an easier time putting limits. When I get excited, I kind of can't help myself sometimes. Or if I know someone's waiting for a response, it's like sitting on me until I do it. So I think I think that would be the negative thing, the lack of containers and it taking over so much, because relationships need and deserve focused attention and presence, right? And self-care takes time to plan out your food and make that and all these different things. So I think the negative is, you know, not putting as much into those. But now it's 3 years. Like, I knew it was going to be like that at the beginning. My goal for this year now, because now it's not like a short-lived thing. The goal for this year is to focus on that, get the support I need for that so it can have more containers.
That's a very good point. And I mean, I think that it's very real, the idea that you can burn out in entrepreneurship doing something that you very much love and brings you a ton of joy.
Yeah.
And like you said, our work is very well circumscribed, especially in kind of more of the procedural base. I have that kind of a practice. You have that kind of a practice. It's like you go home.
Yeah.
And you're never done with the entrepreneurship. So I'm really happy that now in this season of your business, you are working on ways that you can take care of yourself and put some boundaries around the work that you're doing.
Yes. And let others in to help and
Mhm.
support.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Stacey, is there any other advice that you would have that is travel related, personal growth related, entrepreneurship related for anyone who's listening who is feeling like they want to be doing something else, but they don't know how to start?
The first thing that came to mind is follow the energy, right? That's the best advice someone ever gave me. If something excites you, really excites you, then to me, that's the universe saying that's a direction to walk in. And then if you have no idea what you want to do with that, I'm a big supporter of the groups. Like, in medicine, we have amazing Facebook groups, like female physicians cook and female physicians pack light and female physicians, do anything you could ever think of in the whole world. And I think why they become so popular is because we kind of have a level of trust with each other. We know that these are like savvy with it women. So if there's anything at all that spikes your interest and you're not sure what it is or how to go about doing it, just start delving into it. Whether you join a group of people who do it, start following people who do it, start reading a book on something to do with it. Because for me, I know just taking an action, even if I don't know where it's going to go, even if it's small, just taking an action propels me forward and lifts me up. Because it really isn't the end destination, is it's like that cliche. It really is like the whole journey of becoming. And so just taking that first action changes my identity to a verb, to a verb. Like, you know, I am a piker. It's becoming. that verb of the identity I want to have.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that and for coming on and sharing your success and your excitement for this travel business. And tell everyone who's listening where they can find out about your upcoming trips and what the best place is to go to look at more information from you or contact you.
Thank you. Yeah, so my company's LH Adventure Travel. The LH stands for Lifestyle Health. It's based on lifestyle medicine. It's lhadventuretravel.com. I just released a bunch of 2027 trips, and it's info at lhadventuretravel.com, or I'm on Facebook under Stacey Funt. I do a lot under Stacey Funt or LH Adventure, and anyone is welcome to reach out to me, whether you're interested in a trip or just if anything resonated with you and you just want some support, just feel free to reach out. We all, it's like the hive lifting each other.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Stacey. Appreciate it. It's great to see you again.
Okay, thanks a lot. Take care.